granddaddy, we called him Pop.
Uh-huh.
And he was a judge.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, I think he was the head of all the judges in Columbia.
I didn't know that.
He had to be elected. I mean, when we were down there, we were little, and we went and helped at the polling places, giving out cards and stuff. And that's why he was called the magistrate. But that's what he was, a judge. He was kind of a judge that other judges had to keep in mind, you know, or like if he gave them an order, even if it wasn't what they wanted, they pretty much had to go along with it.
Was that Baba's husband?
No, her husband was, Baba's husband was AC, no, Dan Daddy.
Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron.
And then Genghis was that Genghis husband.
Who?
You call one of them Genghis?
Genghis was the other female, yeah. It was Pop and Genghis and Granddaddy and Baba.
So,
and I was Tog. John was Chip.
But Genghis' husband was the judge?
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
And some of our cousins called him Big Genghis and Little Genghis, but we just called it Genghis and Pop.
You guys are so weird.
You'd have been the weirdest one if you'd been back there. You'd have been doing all kinds of squirrely things. But we got to sit, watch TV together, and Granddaddy would make a joke or something. It was kind of, they had a little fireplace. It was kind of a nice little secure place feeling, you know. They had a bedroom. They had 4 bedrooms. One of them was like a hobby room, but it was in the middle of the house, and that's where they had a piano and stuff. And they had a guy that said that was kind of a comedian. I can't remember his name, but he'd go out and he'd do tricks for him. And there was a girl that lived there as an exchange student, and her name was something like Rosemary. And after she left, that was always called Rosemary's room.
Yeah.
One of them said, I need to get home. Well, don't go to Rosemary's roof because Baba will be asleep. It wasn't Rosemary though. What was it? Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You're a weirdo.
You're a weirdo.
Did you have any dogs in South Carolina?
We had one, Scamp.
Yeah.
Scamp was a Chihuahua, but he didn't look like a Chihuahua. He was black hair and some orange stripes down his side, but he was very, very fussy and did not want to be bothered, and very seldom played with us, you know. And
well, Uncle Tom traumatized him.
yeah, that's true. I can understand, but they didn't have leash laws, and dogs could just roam the streets if they wanted to. Which I can't believe that, but they did. And so he ran off, and they couldn't find him. And after about a week or so being gone, he showed up, and he was filthy, like been rolling in crap or something. And he had a BB, and he'd been shot by a BB gun twice on the side, and in his back he shot a pellet gun. A pellet gun's really a lot worse than a BB gun. So they weren't trying to run him off; they were trying to kill him. So we tried to keep a watch on him, but of course it's almost impossible. And he ran off again, and he never came back after that.
Yeah.
I doubt he was picked up because he would have bit him if they tried to pick him up and bring him with them.
Yeah.
So I think he probably once in a while. He did that in like June, and we moved out here in August. So we'd always get Mom or Dad to drive around the neighborhood, and we'd look and see if we could find a little dog, you know.
Didn't you have a mammy?
No. We had a maid, but she wasn't a nursemaid or anything. Her name was Marie. She wasn't there all the time. She was there about 2 or 3 times a week. And when she was there, she'd fix the dinner for us. She'd wash our clothes. She'd do anything. She was a nice lady. And she had a son named Bobby, who was a real good football player. But back then, blacks and whites couldn't play football together. He had to play all black guys, and the white guys had to play each other only. So he never went very far.
Yeah.
And once in a while, we give something happened. Marie couldn't take the bus home, so Mom or Dad would drive there, and I'd go with them, and I'd just be astounded. She were nice people. They lived in a shack, just a white shack. The very better to fall down. And I felt so sorry for her son Bobby. Her husband was a preacher, but he got drunk all the time. He's always in jail. My grandfather Pop was the one who put him in jail. He'd always let him off early because he didn't cause any trouble. He just got drunk.
Yeah.
So kind of like Otis on Randy Griffith's show.
And you guys had like a separate drinking fountains and seats at the movie theater.
Yeah, the blacks sat upstairs in the balcony and we sat downstairs.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you look back and you wonder what were they thinking. I didn't do a lot of that stuff. I didn't use the N word. Because my first 3 years of life, I was in an army school because Dad was in the army, and we had all colored people in there. Some were black, some were brown, they were yellow, white. You know, so you just had to get along with everybody. So when I came to, my dad got out of the service, and I came to up here and started at Rosewood School, and it was like a different world. You know, there was no black people around, no black kids, no black teachers.
And what about
The colored man.
Yeah, the janitor.
Well, the lead janitor was named Mr. Bozard. He was kind of fat and bald and his red face.
Was that at school?
Yeah, we had 2 janitors, and I didn't like him because he was real snappy and then his assistant was called the colored man. Colored meaning black, you know, and he didn't have a name. They just called him the colored man. I thought that's terrible. He's not being treated like he's a human. So if you went, everybody else disagreed with me. They thought I was crazy. But if you went back there and went to like a drugstore, it wasn't uncommon to see a guy with a big paddle walking around, you know, kind of like a policeman or something. I never actually saw anybody get swatted, but that paddle looked pretty hard.
Wasn't there a teacher who?
Mrs. Lee.
Yeah.
She was a little bit more. She didn't like you treating blacks any more differently than you treat whites. But this incident happened one day, and we didn't have intercom, so she just chose somebody to go over and tell the town that there's a fire coming, and he ran off, and I don't remember what was the story of the colored man. That was all the story was there. There was nothing spectacular.
She called him Wesley.
Wesley was his name.
Yeah.
And they told him to go get Wesley, and this kid just wondered. I wondered how they knew who they're talking about, but they did.
Yeah.
And the black kids, they were always at least across the street from us. We'd never be on the same side with them.
Yeah. Did they have black schools?
They did. They were very under-financed, you know. They wouldn't have the number of teachers. They wouldn't have the good furniture. That's the way it was. If the blacks were to get new furniture for their school, it would be used. It wouldn't be new. Like a park and swap or something.
And then when you moved out to Arizona, was it like an immediate difference?
No. Well, there were some differences right off the bat, but for the most part, it took a while, you know.
Were things still segregated?
No, they weren't segregated out here. I started right with blacks and Mexicans and all. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
In South Carolina, eventually had to do it too.
Yeah, because in Alabama there was that school.
Yeah.
And I forgot what it was called, that school, but...
In Alabama?
Yeah, that let in the first, 13 black students.
I think it's probably University of Arkansas.
Arkansas.
That's where it went, so it's probably the University of Arkansas.
Yeah.
First one's going through. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That was.
There's still a lot of racism in the world.
Yeah, there is.
And it's never going to go away completely. In fact, the people on the other side, they don't want to go to bed too soon because they're all in it to help others, you know, or to help themselves. So if they saw any slight remembrance of racism, they'd make a big deal out of it. You know, they couldn't just ever let it slide. So they turned a lot of whites off too, you know, by being overly aggressive.
Yeah.
And that's where they are right now. That, you know, they're having these things where they pull the guy over, and police do, and they get the guy out, and he starts fighting with them, and they wind up killing him. But the thing to me is, why do you get out of the car and even do that? You know?
Yeah.
If I got my car pulled over by a police officer, I would sit in that seat until he'd tell me what to do next. He'd probably tell me to show my driver's license to him, and I'd tell him I've got to reach down here to get my, so he knows I'm not reaching for a gun. And then you could see the gun, see that it was not loaded or anything, and put it back.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I never had the kind of life that some of these black kids have, so they are a little bit bitter, you know?
Yeah.
So.
You grow up under that constant, like,
Oh, yeah.
scrutiny and fear, and it's bound to do something.
I watched a
to you.
movie last night, a couple nights ago, about this guy named Bill Russell, who was a basketball player, and he was right when the isolation was at its peak, and some of the things that went on, no black kids could go to school where the whites had, but some of them said they had it right, and they started coming over and trying to go, but the whites were there, but the whole area blinked, people around it completely blanketed, and to go in on that, you get hurt because they had billy clubs and everything.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's gone too far in the other direction now. Now everything that's black is good, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
All the movies, the blacks are the heroes, and I don't mind a little bit of that, but let's be fair.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're any worse than us, but they're not any better either.
Yeah.
I've seen both sides, honey. I've seen both sides.
You think you're so smart.
Well, my mom and my dad they lived, 70 years in the South, so they were pretty entrenched in it. They might be a little bit mellow, but they weren't going to, let them go. They get really mad when you see things like that,
Uh-huh. Like what?
Well, like just basic segregation.
Uh-huh.
Like they see, if it was a game like Family Feud, Feud always has one black couple and one other couple. Well, that is racism. Racism says helping somebody out or harming them because of their race. So when they force a white announcer out because they want more blacks, they need to look at the ratio. If we have 80% of the people, we should have 80% of the services. You shouldn't get extra things.
Action.
Yeah, well that should be just called racism because that's all it is.
Uh-huh.
They look for things, and if they legitimately find things, they might put them up, but they look for everything, and they intimidate the principals at the other schools. And, Chris was telling me when he was in high school that it was kind of a bad deal for a white girl to turn down a black guy, because the first thing is, why are you racist? And they start putting her down. She should be able to say no for any reason she wants, and she doesn't have to explain it to you.
Yeah.
So, I understand.
That makes sense, though.
Well, there's a country club. Well, you see the Masters last weekend?
What?
You see any of the Masters golf tournament last weekend?
No.
It's a beautiful place. It's right between Georgia and South Carolina, and they have Masters, and that's the biggest golf competition of the year. And they've had to really tone back their racism and just right smart in the middle of it, because there's so much money in this golf tournament.
Yeah.
And but their membership, a black could not be a member. He could come visit, and he'd have to come in with another member, or he wouldn't be allowed to get in. He's tearing up the golf course and beating everybody, Tiger Woods. And after he's done, he can't even go into the clubhouse. And that's wrong.
Yeah. That's sad.
But it can work both ways, Do you remember Stan and Jan?
No.
Well, they were black, and they had a little girl named Lisa, I think it was.
Who were they?
They lived two or three doors down from us when we were in Jeff Burns' house. You weren't born yet at first. And then Amy Rose, what is her name? I just said it. Their daughter's name was Lisa.
Yeah.
And we had Amy, and they became good friends, So we were over there one night for dinner, and Stan goes, I said, boy, Tiger Woods is a good golfer. And Stan said, yeah, but isn't it a terrible thing that he can't even play on the golf course or go on the golf course? I said, yeah, there's a lot of things that need to be corrected. One is, okay, I started to say, okay, he had his daughter in a lot of beauty pageants, and he was saying how on the course Tiger Woods was only one of the blacks would play because they're not good enough. And I said, yeah, but what about the cheerleading thing? Amy can't participate in that cheerleading thing because she's white. It's called the Black is Beautiful pageant. What if you're white? So Lisa can go to any beauty pageant that she wants to. Amy can't because she's prejudiced against.
Yeah.
So that's why I was saying it works both ways, you know. You gotta find the happy medium.
On these, like Hulu and Netflix, they have a section now of movies called Black Voices, and like, they only have black, you never see like Asian voices or Native American voices or...
Well, you ever heard of a movie called White Men Can't Jump?
Yeah, I've seen
What if
it.
somebody put a movie out that says Black Men Can't Swim?
What's Black Man Can't Jump about?
It was about whites and blacks playing basketball games together. But
Yeah.
But if you told a person that he can't jump because he's white, nobody would laugh. Everybody would laugh. If you told a black guy he couldn't swim because he's black, they raise holy hell.
Yeah.
A lot of people just hold their tongues and don't say anything, get in trouble.
What was your favorite president?
My favorite president?
President.
Well, president. I actually like Dick Nixon quite a bit, but he probably got shamed more than anybody else in the history of. If you ask 99% of the people, they say he was a terrible president, but he did a lot of good things before he got screwed up in Vietnam. He was the first person in 40 years that got Nixon, yeah, Dick Nixon. He got us back friendly with China, which is a big deal right now, and he did 2 or 3 things that really stood out. But then the Vietnam War was going on, and he got great discredit for it, even though most of it was done by the Democrats, but he got blamed for it. And then they had a convention, and he got guys to spy on other people from the other side of the Democrats, and he got caught, and he lied about it, and they made a big deal out of it, and he had to resign. And I liked him, but when I found out that he was kind of dishonest, I just sort of, I don't know, my favorite would probably be Bush.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be Trump. Unless Trump runs again and wins it back, I might change my mind.
I don't think.
Who's your
Trump
favorite
is-
president?
I don't know. They all seem to kind of suck. Maybe Obama.
They are given a task that sometimes is impossible,
Yeah.
you know.
I haven't seen a lot of presidents in my...
Lifetime.
Yeah, because a lot of them are 2 years. Or 2 terms.
Yeah. Well, let's see. You were born in what year?
96.
96. I think Bush #2 was ruling then.
Yeah.
And then Bill Clinton came, and he served for 8 years.
I don't think I think he was around before I was born.
Okay, that could be.
Because
I don't know.
I
how to do it.
had George Bush, I think, for 2 terms.
Well,
And then I had Obama for 2 terms.
And Trump for 1.
And now we're on Biden.
Biden
So
1. Yeah.
and that's only like 5.
Well, it's good times to
Or
have.
4, maybe.
What, honey? What'd you say? I hear you.
What's Watergate?
Watergate's the name of the hotel that Nixon bugged, so he had bugged all the rooms of people they didn't like, didn't trust, and so everybody it happened. They got mad. They left his side because you imagine if somebody put a microphone right here and it was recording everything I was saying. I might not like that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one story. What happened to Dayton one time. It was like the first day of school, and one of the teachers, Claire, came over and we were talking in my room, and the phone rang, and I picked it up, and it wasn't anybody, but I hung up. What I didn't realize is, as soon as I did that, I set off the earphones, and and it was quiet, nobody could hear. But the two ladies that did it, Marcia and Michelle, they were in the room listening to it, laughing and laughing. We were talking like guys do. I got pissed off. I thought, you guys did that to us yesterday. You actually taped what we were saying.
Yeah.
I said, that's illegal. You can get fired for something like that because you can't violate somebody else's thing like that. And I wasn't making a big deal out of nothing, but
Yeah.
you can't. So going back to Nixon, you can't tape other people's voice talking unless they give you permission.
Right.
And they didn't do any permission. He had a whole team that knew how to get in there when they were gone and change the tapes and all that. Very elaborate. And the thing was, he was going to win the presidential race by a landslide anyway. So why was he trying all these things that could ruin it for him? And it did. It ruined it for him.
Yeah.
Because once he got that, they found out that he was lying and all that. That's just, nobody trusted him.
Mhm. And he got impeached.
He did get impeached. But he didn't get taken to court about it.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. You know what else is crazy? You.
How did Nixon die?
Oh, he just got old and died, I think. I got a book. You want to see it? How they died, where they're buried?
Sure.
I've been reading it. It's good.
What is it?
I get it. I'll get it for you.
Okay. What's it about, like actors or anyone?
I'll get it and I'll show it to you, I promise.
Okay.
That I die for, you make me love you. Where are they buried? How did they die? So, tell me, I get my reading glasses on. Tell me somebody, a star, a movie star, a baseball player, anybody that you want to find out about.
I don't know.
How about an actor or actress?
You choose.
Okay, let's choose somebody you would know.
Give me some options.
Okay, hang on, I'm trying to, let's see. You wouldn't know most of these guys because they're before your time. You wouldn't know Jill Valvanos, Willie Stargell, Wilma Rudolph, Jim Catfish Hunter, Billy Martin, Mickey Mantle.
You can just choose one.
It's more fun if you know somebody you're looking for. How about Frank Sinatra? You've heard of Frank Sinatra, sure?
Yeah.
Okay, there's this picture, and I gotta find out where his story is. Dean Martin's here too. You know Dean Martin? Everybody loves somebody sometime. Frank Sinatra. Believe it or not, Frank Sinatra once aspired to be a journalist. He was a copy boy for the Jersey Observer newspapers, and after enrolling in school, he studied English. Blah blah. It goes on. It says he got divorced from someone who made him feel bad, I guess.
At 82, Frank died of heart failure and was buried at Desert Memorial Park Cemetery in Cathedral City, California. This is how you get to his grave. You take I-10 to the Raymond Road exit and proceed south for 2 miles to Duval Drive. Turn right, the cemetery is immediately to your left. Enter the cemetery, turn left, and follow the main drive around, but don't bear left toward the office. Once you've gotten behind the right-hand hairpin in the Roman road is directly behind you. Begin counting the trees in your sight. Stop between the third and fourth trees and count 4 markers in from the curb to find Frank's grave. So if you knew these people and you were over there in the take a summer, you just want to find out how they all died and, you know, where are they buried?
Yeah.
And what some of them are, you know who Charlie Chaplin is, right? No.
No.
He's an old time guy. Jack Benny, Fred Astaire, Peter Sellers, Charles Schmidt. He did Peanuts. He's the guy that drew Peanuts.
Oh.
Let's see, where is it? Here's one I know you know. Elvis Presley.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I'm not gonna read all that stuff. I just read the end.
He died on the toilet.
This is the night before. He read for a couple hours. His girlfriend, J.J. Allen, fell asleep around 6, and upon waking at 9, saw Elvis still hadn't slept. In his best blue pajamas, he excused himself to go to the bathroom with a book called The Scientific Search for the Face of Jesus, and that's the last time he was seen alive. About 2 that afternoon, Ginger found a bloated Elvis with the book beside him, slumped in a fetal position. A medical examiner declared that Elvis had died of cardiac arrhythmia. In layman's term, he had a heart attack. And there is no indication of drug abuse of any kind. However, the laboratories were finally completed in 1978. 11 drugs, all consistent with medical treatment, were found to be in his system at the time of his death. 4 of the drugs, all commonly known as sedatives, painkillers, and depressants, were present in significant deal. Talks how he died. And this says grave directions. Get yourself to Memphis and follow the tour bus to Elvis Presley Boulevard in Graceland. You won't miss it that day. The monotone voices, tour guides march wide-eyed visitors through the property so they can see his costumes, his cars, and so on. Charles Schulz, the guy that wrote Peanuts. Charles' comic strip cartoon requires such a peculiar combination of talent that very few people are very successful in it. Of course, Charles Schulz is in a league by all his own. He goes to tell you his life, and they tell you how long he lived. Let's see what it says about Charles Schulz. Behind Snoopy and the little red-haired girl, Charlie Brown's underrated love was based on the girlfriend that rejected Charles' marriage proposal. Despite his fantastic success, insecurity became Charles' personal themes, and high anxiety dogged him all his life. I don't know the meaning of life, it was said, and I don't know why we're here. I think life is full of anxiety and tears, and it can be very grim. But I do not be the one who tries to tell somebody else what life is all about. To me, it's a complete mystery. In December 2001, a battle with colon cancer and a series of small strokes forced Charles to announce his retirement just hours before the final Peanut installment appeared in the newspapers around the world. Charles died in his sleep of a heart attack at home. He was 77 at his death. He's buried in Pleasant Hills Cemetery in California. He goes on. You want to take this home and look at it?
That's okay, thank you.
Here's all the Beatles. See, there's a picture.
Uh-huh.
That's not them, but that's Abbott and Costello, the funny guys. They were pretty funny too.
Yeah. Some of the Beatles are still
Natalie
alive.
Wood, you remember Natalie Wood? She was real pretty. She drowned. They've never figured out how she drowned because she was a good swimmer, but she drowned. They were having a party on a boat and she disappeared. And before they could get her out of the water, it was at night. They couldn't find her. And she
Did
drowned.
they suspect someone pushed her?
I don't know if anybody suspects it, but they don't have any evidence. There's some that think, it's like Marilyn Monroe. She died, and there's a very strong, some very good people, very, know what they're doing, not just crook flakes. They think Marilyn Monroe was killed by President Kennedy.
Yeah.
That his men.
Yeah.
Because she had an affair with him, and if it got leaked out, he would lose his job, you know.
Yeah.
And he was a cartless bastard, so he had no problem with the Kennedys were just scum that got rich. You know, Teddy Kennedy.
They all died.
They're all dead now, yeah. Except I think there's one that was kind of messed up, and they gave her shock treatments and what do you call it?
They gave her a lobotomy.
Lobotomy, and they made her where she was just like an animal. And last time I heard, she was still alive, although she beat her.
She died.
Did she?
Yeah.
Well, what was I saying? Teddy, the youngest son, who was probably the worst. There was 3 sons: Jack, Joe, who died in a plane crash; Jack, who got assassinated; Bobby, who got assassinated; and then Teddy, who just lived out his life. But he was the worst. And he was coming back from a fundraiser, and they had to cross this over a real rickety little bridge up in Massachusetts. And he left with one of these young girls that were really, you know, he was their hero because he was running for president. Her name was Mary Jo Kopechne. And he went off the bridge, and the car turned upside down and went all the way to the bottom. And he got up, and he was okay. And he didn't stop to help her up. He went home and said he's got to find out if the girl dies, they got to get a thing ready to fight charges. And she's still in the damn water. They're not even going out. It was over an hour after he left that they got people there to the bridge, pulled her up, and of course she was dead. And that's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Are you gonna take off?
What?
You're loading up. I wonder if you can take off.
No,
You're just kind of loading up like you're just kind of bored with
I
it.
spent my wonder away. I'm listening. You were telling me about Teddy.
Teddy Kennedy.
What was the lady's name?
Mary Jo Kopechne.
That's sad.
Yeah, she was like, you know, they have these young guys and girls, they're usually in their 20s, and they travel around with the presidents and when they're on campaign and try to get the audience, and they're like cheerleaders basically. And that's
How old was she?
I guess about 25. Because Kennedy was, you know, he wrote a book called PT 109, and it won the whatever they give Best Book of the Year awards. He didn't even write it. Somebody else wrote it, and they put his name on it. So he got out of the army because they said he hurt his back when he was fighting these. He hurt his back when he was gambling one night and driving home drunk.
Huh. How did they get to be so have so much power?
Well, it's they don't have power. Their powers are ruled by the book. They can't get more powers, but they can misuse what they have.
Power?
What's that, honey?
Political power. How
Yeah.
they get to be in that position?
Well, I guess what they tell you to do at first is pick your side, Republican or Democrat, and then call the Democratic or the Republican headquarters and say, I want to help with your campaign. What do I do? And they'll say, well, come on by and we'll tell you what's going on. We're going to have a meeting of all the new volunteers, and you'll have a job that you'll come back and you'll do to help us, and just try to talk to your friends. And then every year you do it, you get a little bit higher in the hierarchy, you know. So she had been doing it for a couple of years. She was pretty well thought of. And then some of them, they're called lobbyists. Some of them actually know the situation so well that they actually run for president themselves. There's like 7 different people ran for president when Biden won. But there was only 2 that had a chance. And that was Trump and Biden.
Yeah.
In fact, I had a lady that she was a substitute teacher. She was a full-time teacher at first at Desert Horizon. She was crazy as hell, and they fired her. And she was living in a trailer right by the school. She had no running water or anything. Anyway, she ran for for governor, and she got her picture in the paper, and it was crazy. It was insane. She was talking about what she needed to do first was something like, you know, get the Beatles and the Crickets to be friends, something crazy like that. But anybody can run for governor if you want to. You can do it because you're over 21.
Kanye West ran for president.
He didn't have a chance.
No, obviously not.
But just because they're young, Obama was pretty young. And so you don't have to be, you know, if they had a problem with you, if you had a problem with the police or something, as long as if it was a long time ago, it was better than if it just happened, you know. It's
Yeah.
called "What Have You Done for Me Lately?"
Because Trump has some pretty bad things in his history, but that was years
been
ago.
what he did. Was people that were just tired of the Democrats. The country's getting wilder and wilder. I watch that Channel 10. Somebody gets murdered in this town every day because they always start off with bad news from Mesa. Two people killed and
more than one person
Yeah.
a day gets murdered.
Sometimes more than that, you know. But drive-by shootings, all kinds of things. They have a party. It's probably gonna get broken up by the cops or the bad guys.
Yeah. It's sad that they announce and publicize school shootings or
Yeah,
mass shootings.
Well, you know what they-
that only encourages other people to do it because they get.
publicity.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they're not giving them as much. Notice the last one that I saw, the gunman. They kept calling him the gunman. They didn't put his picture out. They didn't put his name out, and they didn't discuss why he did it to try to give him excuses. But the two that got killed, they got all kinds of coverage. You know,
Yeah.
and that's what they were being told to do.
Yeah.
Quit accenting the bad, accent the good.
Yeah.
Pissed me off.
Still, I don't think we should even. I don't know. We can't. It's hard not to acknowledge it and pay respect, but there's a reason that mass shooting is a thing now when it used to not be.
Yeah, it's just the world's gone to hell in a handbasket. I'll tell you,
Yeah.
it's bad.
I
And
wish I grew up in your era, did I?
you'd have a blast.
Because, now, even with Big Brother and the government, you have no privacy.
Well, they've let so many people come across our borders. Just like right now, Mexico's coming. They're coming across our borders. Do you think it's their doctors that are coming across? You think it's their lawyers? You think it's their policemen? It's their scum.
Mm-hmm.
The homeless. They're people that are career
Drug
criminals. Yeah, drug dealers. That's who we're getting. Because Mexico's smart enough to do that. You remember the freedom? You wouldn't remember. You weren't born, but the guy running for president, Jimmy Carter, found out that about 90 miles out in the ocean, there's a country called Cuba. And Cuba's the only country in that part of the world that is communist. So we aren't friendly with them, which is stupid. Neither one of us are friendly. So, what was my point? What were we talking about? I can't figure out the point.
Cuba's communist because you were saying
Yeah.
Mexico gave all their scum.
Oh,
and-
okay, that's right. What happened was Jimmy Carter Castro saw the chances. Jimmy Carter was sending out hundreds of people to rescue these Mexicans that were trying to get here. Some of them were on inner tubes and were about to drown, but we saved as many as we could. Well, Castro, he's the leader of Cuba, and he wasn't stupid. So he got all his criminals together and they put guns on him and said, you have two choices. You can get on the boat and go to America and try to start having trouble there. Or you can stay here, at which point we're going to shoot you.
Yeah.
So they all went over, and they were terrible. They were in our penitentiaries within weeks, and they were filling up our penitentiaries, and they were terrible. They were much worse than anybody we'd ever had. You know, they were taking our bad prisoners, and they were becoming badder because of these guys' influence, and they liked it. They liked being stronger and tougher and more feared. But what can you say, honey? What can you say?
Yeah, cause now we're constantly being watched by technology and we're being recorded or
Oh yeah, the cops have to wear a camera on their uniform.
body cam.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
So
I don't like this world.
yeah, for part about all you've known, huh?
Well,
You're 27.
I knew it in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, that's true.
Just in the last few recent years has it gotten really bad, you know?
Yeah.
Probably when cell phones started around like probably 2000. I don't know.
2000.
I got my first phone in like 2008.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't know, but I believe.
But when phones started getting like internet access,
Internet.
that's when people started being watched.
Yeah. Oh,
What'd you do to your hand?
right there.
Yeah.
I fell. Yeah, I
Oh.
told you that. I fell yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't know that was from the photo.
Well, it is. It is basically because I take blood thinner, it doesn't clot as easily. So that it's not gonna. If it doubled by tomorrow, I'd go down to the doctor, but it's not going to.
How'd you fall? Like, what did you trip
I was
on?
walking into Walmart and I went up. I don't go up the slides. I go the ones for handicaps like that. Well, right at the end of it, they had a place where the one side was a little bigger than the other, and I was walking up and my wheel hit that and stopped, and so I went over the top of it because my weight was going so fast,
Yeah.
and I pulled like this. Not pulled like this, I guess, because I hit this part of my head. The first thing I did was I hurt my leg, and then the rest of me came down. I was tangled up in that walker, like I was afraid it could break my arm or something. And then last thing to hit was my head, and I held it up, and so it didn't hit very hard.
Yeah.
But it hit some other places pretty hard.
I'm sorry, did it?
Yeah, I've been very off balance the last couple of days,
Yeah.
more so than usual.
You need to start going to therapy, I think.
Well, if I can get there somehow. Two, if I can have the energy to do it. I was going to try to do it, I just didn't have the energy.
Could they come to your house again?
Well, no.
Or
Oh,
you
those there-
dial right now that shuttle from here.
I might sign up for that. Have them meet me here and take me. It's not that far.
Or you could just exercise here.
Yeah, I could, and I need to. That's one thing I quit doing and I shouldn't have.
You
But I am
used to
so
love
tired.
to exercise.
I'm so tired all the time,
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, I don't want to sit there and watch TV all day, but sometimes that's how I feel. It's called an off day.
Yeah.
Today's been an off morning, and the afternoon's been okay. But it's almost like every day is following that pattern. I wake up, I'm dizzy, head still hurting, I'm not fully awake, but I go down and eat breakfast, and that helps a little bit, and I go back upstairs, and I'm just so tired. Sometimes I just sit on the couch for a few minutes, I don't go to sleep. And then, but I woke up, I feel refreshed. And the rest of the day is kind of like a hey, like that.
You're a weirdo. You should try drinking coffee or something.
Is those hairs?
Yeah.
Well, my eyes are so screwed up, I can tell if they're a little.
I should probably shave, but yeah, I have light hair.
Yeah. You're kind of a southern girl.
You have light hair.
I'm a southern boy. You can swim with pigs.
You gross.
Daddy hurt my feelings.
Do you drink coffee anymore?
I never liked it. I just drank it because I thought it would help my health wise. But then the Mormons are against drinking coffee.
Oh yeah, for the caffeine.
Yeah, so I quit drinking it when I started doing the Mormon thing, and I didn't miss it. But we got so many people that are so hooked on it. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, I never liked coffee. I never wanted to be one of those people who are addicted to it.
Well, what can you say? Coffee.
It's not that good anyway.
How do you know?
Because I've tried it.
Some people think it's great.
I know it's yucky. You like Pepsi though.
That's all right.
Pepsi has caffeine.
Huh?
Pepsi has caffeine. you should, have you ever taken like 5-hour energy?
I think I have it, but I didn't notice any difference.
Yeah. I was wondering if like
Have you ever tried it?
one time and it made me sleepy,
Oh.
so I never
Well, that's the exact
tried
opposite.
it again.
That's the opposite of what it's supposed to be doing.
I don't know. I never only
Never.
tried it that one time, and I don't know if that was just me or how I react to it. So I just never tried it.
Stupid.
You're stupid.
I understand what you're trying to say, and it's right that you feel that way. Stupid. And I'd be glad to stand by your side no matter which path you take in life, because you are the ruler. Stupid.
You're stupid.
I'm so funny.
I'm probably gonna go before cornhole because it's gonna be 30 soon.
Okay, let me go to the bathroom real quick, and I'll walk you down, and I'll walk you out to your car because it's not quite ready. So, time
Yeah.
anytime. Thank you for coming over and bringing me a hot dog.
I
Can I
love
pay you?
you. No, I'm happy to treat you today.
I know.
I'm glad to see you.
Why don't you go ahead of me
Okay.
so I can get by? Because I don't want to run into you.
I love you so much.
I love you, sweetheart. Anybody that says you're a nerd, I'll hit them in the head.
I broke your dustpan. I'm sorry.
It broke?
Yeah.
Well, it
I
must have
ran
fallen
it
hard.
over.
Must have fallen hard, huh?
I ran it over. It got stuck. See it? Oh, I'm sorry.
So it's so wonderful to me. It'll still work though, because look, it didn't bother any of the parts to do that, just that little piece.